Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Rough weekend for many. I'll explain. You know, this is a morning where I assumed that we would start talking about impeachment stuff, Donald Trump stuff. I assumed, you know, we'd talk about, hopefully, maybe a big UNLV basketball win against San Diego State over the weekend. And sadly, we have to talk about a horrific tragedy. And I still can't even believe it happened. We were all heading out to the UNLV basketball game yesterday. And our producer, Jason, I'm sitting right next to him, and he says, you guys aren't going to believe this. Just looking at a report from TMZ, Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash. And my first reaction was, well, this has got to be a mistake, right? It can't be true. It's got to be a mistake. And as the minutes passed and the hours passed, you learned that it was sadly 100% true. There were a lot of false reports that went out. I'll explain what those were in a second. We learned that 9 people died in this helicopter crash, including Kobe Bryant's young daughter, Gigi, 13 years old. I just saw him sitting with his daughter at a Las Vegas Aces game a few months ago. I took a picture of them together. And, of course, a lot of things go through your mind. And Kobe Bryant meant something, I would imagine, to just about everybody on this planet. And I had a chance to interview him over a dozen times. But, you know, it's funny because I'm driving to the UNLV game, and I hear these national talk show hosts getting all choked up, and I'm thinking to myself, man, what a bunch of doofuses. You know, they didn't know Kobe Bryant personally. Why are they getting emotional? And then as it started to hit home to me, I get home after the UNLV basketball game, and I'm watching the images of him and his family, and then I started to get choked up, and then I understood, well, I'm the idiot for saying that. Because Kobe touched everybody in one way or another. You didn't have to know Kobe Bryant personally for this to really hit home to you. And what hits home to me is that he lost his 13-year-old daughter on top of this. And he leaves 3 other daughters behind, a wife, his family, his parents. And we're learning more and more information, and we will continue to get more information on how this tragedy happened. How did this accident happen? Well, what we do know is that this helicopter was in some really inclement weather, some bad foggy weather, as they were headed to the Mamba League of his daughter's basketball league in his facility. And LAPD is saying they wouldn't even let their helicopters in the air. That's how bad the conditions were. But for whatever reason, and we will learn more, this pilot decided to fly in some very bad conditions. And ultimately, I think we're going to learn that it was pilot error that caused this horrible crash. I just hope that nobody had to suffer, and I just hope they died instantly. If you're going to go quickly. But, you know, my thoughts of Kobe Bryant quickly are, you know, some of the best memories of my life from basketball. I remember Kobe would always come out when the Olympics, I can't even talk. The USA basketball team was practicing here for the Olympics, and then they had the FIBAs here, and what that was USA basketball needed to qualify to make the Olympics. That's what bad a shape the USA basketball was in. Kobe took it upon himself along with Jerry Colangelo, and he got all these guys, LeBron, all the best players in the world, Carmelo, Chris Paul, and they were all around this team, and they were practicing here. And before they had the Mendenhall Center, which is the practice facility there at UNLV, they were practicing at Valley High School. And there weren't hundreds of media people there. There were maybe only 15, 20 members of the media in this gym. It was incredible. And I remember sitting in this gym, and I watched Kobe Bryant and LeBron James scrimmage against one another, and they were guarding one another. Again, 20 or 30 people in the gym. And I remember the trash talking, and I remember how they were just going at it with one another. I remember it all like it was yesterday because I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. And from that point, you saw what a competitor he was in person. You know, you got to see it in person behind the scenes. This guy was a killer on and off the court. He would never accept losing at anything. So from a basketball standpoint, I saw that. And then I remember after practice, and I'll always remember this too about Kobe. There were about 15 or 20 kids from the inner city. I think they were kids from a YMCA, a local YMCA, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. They were waiting for several hours just to get a picture with Kobe, an autograph with LeBron and all that. And I watched LeBron James walk past all the kids. He gave them a quick wave, and then he went on the bus. Didn't sign any autographs or pictures. And that bothered me. I was like, man, you couldn't stop, and you guys are all going on the same bus. And then I saw Kobe Bryant. And I saw him not only take pictures and sign autographs for all these kids, but actually he cared about them and he talked to them. He asked them, where they played basketball, and he asked them a bunch of basketball questions and questions where they went to school. And from that moment on, I became a Kobe Bryant fan because, I grew up a Celtics fan. And growing up a Celtics fan, you were trained to hate the Lakers, right? I never hated Kobe Bryant. I think everyone would agree with me on this one. Everyone had to have the utmost respect for this man, not only as a basketball player, but as a human being. Sure, he had his issues with infidelity. He paid for that and then some, and he made amends, in my personal opinion. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But what gets me choked up about this and what hurts the most to talk about it is not necessarily Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, but Kobe Bryant, the husband, Kobe Bryant, the father. And we're just learning, TMZ reporting, that Kobe Bryant in December was just starting to put out a line of clothing for his 13-year-old daughter called Mambacita. He wanted his daughter to not only one day perhaps be a WNBA superstar, but maybe even be good enough to play the first female to play in the NBA. He talked about that. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about this whole situation is his family. And he was a good dude, man. He was a good dude. You don't want this to happen to anybody. But it was shocking, and I guess it finally hit home to me last night that we lost not only an icon and arguably one of the best, if not the best, basketball player of all time, but a guy who embraced Las Vegas, who loved Las Vegas, who came out here all the time. I just saw him a few months ago. The last time I saw him was at a Las Vegas Aces game. And he was sitting with his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, and I remember walking past them, and I took a picture, and the last thing I saw from Kobe Bryant, I think speaks volumes about what kind of person he was. As I watched Kobe Bryant leave the Aces game, it was kind of, I don't want to say behind closed doors, but it was behind a curtain, kind of the backstage area of Mandalay Bay. And I watched him leaving the game with a few security guards and his 13-year-old daughter. And as he was leaving the game, he stopped, and he saw two police officers. And this will be my last, image of Kobe. He stopped. Officers didn't ask him to stop. The officers didn't stop him. He stopped. He shook both of these police officers' hands. He said, "I just want to thank you guys for what you do." And then he said to them, "You guys want to take a picture with me?" Because that's the kind of guy that Kobe was. And listen, I'm not trying to knock on other NBA players, but how many NBA players, superstars, would do something like that? That was Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant, it was more than basketball. For Kobe Bryant, it was the things he did off the court, his appreciation and respect for others. And I really don't know what else to say about him other than that this is just a horrible tragedy, and we're going to have coverage. We're going to hear from Brian Ping, KNX Radio in L.A. He's going to give us the latest on what could have caused this horrible tragedy, from happening yesterday. We're going to get to him coming up at the bottom of the hour. Marcus Banks, obviously former running Rebel and former NBA player, did have a relationship with Kobe Bryant. He's going to talk a little bit about what it was like to play against Kobe Bryant. What was it like to have conversations with Kobe Bryant, get advice from Kobe? So Marcus will join us in hour number 3. Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports, the basketball impact. We'll get to the basketball impact later on in the show. Yeah, JD, this is a tough day, and I'm not an extremely emotional person. At least I don't always show it from a standpoint of crying or that sort of thing. And when Michael Jackson passed away, when Prince passed away, I'm a big music fan, and it was very sad, but I wasn't getting emotional. I was sad, but I wasn't crying. I can't recall a celebrity or sports figure that passed away where I actually broke down, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. Last night when I was watching ABC doing a special report on Kobe, and they were talking about his daughter and his family, and I got choked up. I was emotional last night because I felt so horrible for him and his family. Now, here's a guy who did things the right way, who turned into an unbelievable man, a great father, a great husband. And that's what bothers me most about this, is because his second life was just starting. He was just starting his second life, and he was doing so many great things for so many people.
And he was doing a really, really good job, too. I mean, he won an Academy Award. He had the Mamba Sports Academy, obviously. You talked about the Mambacita clothing line. His daughter was 13 years old, and she was actually one hell of an athlete. She had a huge future ahead of her. She was probably going to be a star in the NBA. Kobe Bryant was one of those athletes that, and who said it last night? Doc Rivers said it last night.
Yeah, we'll have the audio of that.
You know, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Larry Bird, not LeBron James, not Kyrie Irving,
no,
Kevin Durant. These guys are just complete, Tom Brady, competitors. If they didn't have $1 in endorsement deals, they would not care. They just wanted to win every single game. That's all they cared about, was winning. Kobe Bryant, he said this a couple of times. He said, you know, I'm talented. I was blessed with natural talent, but I'm a talented overachiever. I work so hard. Nobody
works harder.
I work as hard as if I had zero talent in the world, but I'm blessed with talent. And the fact that he would there's a story when he was 18 years old, he would ask questions to different players like, how many shots do you take? What's your routine like? I mean, every single summer he would take 500 or 600 shots every single day. The reason that he rode in a helicopter is because his outside schedule, you know, because he was such a successful NBA basketball player. His outside schedule, he couldn't see his kids very often, so he took the helicopter to and from home to the games so he could go to his kids' plays. He could pick them up from school. He could do various things of that nature. And so he was just trying to put all of this together, and he got caught up in a very, very odd, ridiculous situation, considering the fact that this helicopter, a Sikorsky B-76, these things are actually very, very safe.
When you say odd and ridiculous,
absolutely,
it could be the pilot made a horrible judgment call.
It absolutely could be.
And it certainly appears that way. But you mentioned LeBron James. Let's talk about that for a second, because this is what's really eerie. 2 days ago, the last night of Kobe Bryant's life, sadly, he went with his daughter to the Lakers basketball game, and LeBron was wearing Kobe shoes. He wrote down Mamba on his shoes, and the reason for which is LeBron surpassed Kobe Bryant, third on the all-time scoring list. How weird is that? And then LeBron, this is a little snippet of LeBron, in speaking after that game. Again, this was 2 nights ago. Nobody knew this was going to be the last day we'd see Kobe Bryant alive. And LeBron is talking like Kobe was gone. I mean, this is just really eerie. This is LeBron James, in his own words, the last night Kobe Bryant was alive after he surpassed him on the point-scoring list.
It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense, but the universe just puts things in your life, and when you live in the right way, or you just giving everything to whatever you're doing, things happen organically, and it's not supposed to make sense, but it just happens. And I'm happy to be in any conversation with Kobe Bryant, one of the all-time greatest basketball players to ever play, one of the all-time greatest Lakers. The man got 2 jerseys hanging up in Staples Center. It's just crazy.
I mean, what's crazy to me is that he's making these types of statements, and then just hours later, Kobe and his daughter and 7 others would lose their lives on that helicopter. Tremendous amount of respect for Coach Doc Rivers. He was extremely emotional yesterday in talking about Kobe Bryant. Here's what he had to say.
I just don't have a lot to say. The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, known him a long time. And, he means a lot to me, obviously. He was such a great opponent, It's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have, the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans.
You could hear the pain in Doc Rivers' voice. Also, Dwayne Wade, who was on the Olympic gold medal team with Kobe Bryant, and he said that experience got them closer. This is what Dwayne Wade had to say yesterday.
Today is one of the saddest days in my lifetime. It seems like a bad dream that you just want to wake up from. It's a nightmare.
And Dwayne Wade, that video is 4 or 5 minute video, really heartfelt. And of course, former Lakers player and coach Jerry West, who had an unbelievable relationship with Kobe Bryant and saw him grow into a man. Here's what Jerry West had to say last night on ABC.
20 years career, one of the worst days of my life. The only thing I can compare it to is I had a brother killed in Korea, and I'm just devastated by this news.
And, it doesn't end there. Some more greats, and we'll get to what the NBA did. And, of course, yesterday, the Grammys. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who many people consider, if not maybe the greatest Laker with Kobe Bryant, talking about the loss of Kobe. Here's what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had to say.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand now how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So to Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys.
And, Jack Nicholson does not do a lot of interviews. As you know, Jack, always sat first row for all these games, and I would imagine he probably had a close friendship with Kobe Bryant as well. He did a rare interview on a local television station. Here's what Jack Nicholson had to say.
Well, Jim, my reaction is the same as almost all of L.A. You just suddenly, where everything was solid, there's a big hole in the wall, I was so used to seeing and talking to Kobe that, it kills you. It's just a terrible event.
And he's absolutely right. So this is really weird, too. Tiger Woods yesterday playing in San Diego, not too far from where this happened. Tiger said he had no idea what happened while he was playing yesterday, and he kept hearing people in the crowd shouting out, "Do it for Mamba," and he didn't know why people were saying that. And Tiger was told of the passing of Kobe Bryant. He was friends with Kobe. He was told of the passing as he got off the 18th green. Here's a little bit of what he had to say yesterday.
I was just, plodding along, doing my own thing, and then when Joey told me that it's unbelievable, the reality that he's no longer here. LeBron, breaks his record, and he passes today.
It's just horrible. I mean, Tiger used to work out with him in Orlando, my understanding. The NBA did some great things yesterday, and I know these tributes will continue, but yesterday I thought it was really great that the Raptors and the Spurs, they weren't the only game to do this, by the way. They both let the 24-second shot clock run out. Obviously, Kobe Bryant wearing number 24 for a part of his career. Just have a listen to this.
They have decided that whoever wins the tip, and in this case Toronto, they are going to let the shot clock run out because of the number 24 to honor Kobe Bryant. Fitting. Appropriate. As Fred VanVleet holding on to it, and the crowd recognizing what this means.
I'll tell you right now, we'll never see that again in our lifetime, and I hope we never do, but that was pretty chilling. Grammy tribute, Alicia Keys paying tribute to Kobe to open the show at Staples Center last night. She was very emotional, as everyone in the crowd was. It's incredible that it actually happened in that building. Here's Alicia Keys.
Here we are, together on music's biggest night, celebrating the artists that do it best. But to be honest with you, we're all feeling crazy sadness right now. Because earlier today, Los Angeles, America, and the whole wide world lost a hero. And we're literally standing here heartbroken in the house that Kobe Bryant built.
Yeah, that just brings you chills when you hear that. And, of course, let's not forget, 9 people died in this helicopter crash. This man's name is Matt Mouser. He's the husband of a woman who died along with Kobe and his daughter, and he was on the Today Show this morning. I can't even imagine. He lost 3 kids, or my understanding, I believe he lost his wife.
And they have 3 little kids.
This is just chilling audio. Just my heart goes out to him. Listen to this.
Trying to lose it again, but I guess I'm doing as good as we can expect. It's just horrible. It's horrible. So I got 3 small kids and trying to figure out how to navigate life with 3 kids and no mom.
It's just awful. And we do know the names of all the 9 people that lost their lives, including the pilot. It is very important to note, yes, we're talking about Kobe Bryant. We're talking about Kobe Bryant's daughter, but 9 people in total lost their lives, and it's just a horrible tragedy.
And even crazier, Trae Young, who his 13-year-old daughter Gigi said was her favorite player. Trae Young was the first player to score 45 points and have a double-double with less than 25 shots. The player before him was Kobe Bryant in the same year that Gigi was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened yesterday.
I have to say this. I do want to mention this.
So it's very interesting how the universe and the world works.
I do want to mention this because I think it's important. We went to the UNLV basketball game yesterday. I was a little disappointed. A few of the players after the UNLV San Diego State game were asked about Kobe, and they said thoughts and prayers, but they also said, listen, we had a game today that we had to prepare for. Now, I understand that, but I thought it would have been a little more heartfelt if maybe they went into Kobe a little bit more. I asked TJ Otzelberger his thoughts on Kobe, and he gave me the same answer. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts out to his family. Sorry, I just didn't think that was enough. I did not think that was enough. In fact, I thought, and again, this is just my personal opinion, I thought that was the first thing that TJ Otzelberger should have talked about in the press conference yesterday, not about a basketball game, about Kobe Bryant. So I thought that was a little strange and odd. I didn't think it was handled in the best way. I am glad that UNLV did a moment of silence before the game yesterday. That was the right thing to do. But I wasn't exactly thrilled with the way the players and TJ answered questions about Kobe Bryant. I thought it was way too brief, way too quickly direct, thoughts and prayers, and let's move on and let's talk more about the basketball game. I thought that was a little bit inappropriate. With that being said, we need to find out more information. We need to find out why this tragedy happened. Why? Was it pilot error? We're going to get reaction from all the players that played with Kobe Bryant, former President Barack Obama, Shaq talking about his relationship with Kobe, and many others that shared close friendships and relationships like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Pau Gasol, Magic Johnson, just to name a few of those that are all speaking. We'll hear from all them coming up, and coming up in our next segment, we'll be speaking with Brian Ping. He is news anchor, reporter there for KNX Radio in Los Angeles. Certainly, we want to get the latest information that we can about this crash. How fast was this chopper going? And more information on how this tragedy could have happened. So Brian Ping will be joining us coming up in the next segment. We will continue to cover this story. Obviously, coming up in hour 2, we're going to get to the latest information in regards to John Bolton revelations. We'll get to that, but Brian Ping coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.